Zepla's video at the future of Final Fantasy XIV. We really want to check this out. Let's see what she has to say.
Yeah, so I am still on the move after my life being completely turned upside down by the war in Ukraine. I was living in Ukraine before, so I'm still getting all my stuff together to hopefully move somewhere more permanent. I'll only be here for maybe a month, but I wanted to get that out of the way because obviously everything's different now and it will be different again soon. So with that said, let's get to the video. It's no secret that Endwalker marks the beginning of a new story arc for Final Fantasy XIV, but I think it's going to be a turning point in some other ways as well as we look forward to the future, to the next 10 years of the game.
10 years!
It's clear that some future-proofing needs to happen, and thankfully the devs have made that a priority. But apart from future-proofing, there is so much stuff to be hyped about in the distant, the not-so-distant, and the immediate future for Final Fantasy XIV, so I just wanted to lay it all out for you here today and talk about the future that we know of, the upcoming patch cycle, and the devs' plans for the next months and years of Final Fantasy XIV. Like, you know, what's next? What's on the horizon? What's on my mind? And what am I, looking forward to? But don't worry if you are not caught up on the story yet completely, because this video will be spoiler free. Let's start with one of the major focuses of Endwalker's patch cycle, which has been future-proofing the game. And you might ask yourself, well, why would they future-proof the game if we're living in the now and the future never actually arrives? Well, I mean, philosophical questions aside, the fact is Final Fantasy XIV is about 12 years old, and the version of the game that we play, Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, is about 9 years old.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, so a game that's been running this long and is planning to run for at least another decade is going to require the game to adjust. Things have to change.
I feel like so much can change in 10 years though, like technology wise. You know what I mean? 10 years is a long time.
And stagnant. Basically, a lot of things are going to have to be prepared on the inside and the outside of the game to allow it to run and thrive for a very long time in a healthy state. And I personally think that preventing stagnancy will require some risk-taking, like making the game playable in new types of ways, breaking down old barriers and obstacles. So let's look at the how, some of the concrete ways that they plan to go about just that. Currently, at the time of making this video, we are in patch 6.15, and the next patch in which we can expect something being released to the game is patch 6.18, and most of the time a minor patch like that is not important and you just can pretty much, like, there's nothing major that's getting added, but patch 6.18 is special. Patch 6.18 is going to bring us the extremely delayed and long awaited data center travel system. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you'll be able to travel to other data centers. Like,
only in your region though, only in your region.
But with your main character, and you'll be able to play with people in the other data centers outside your own. So just like how World Visit works right now, but for data centers. So if you happen to be on the Ether data center because you're a hardcore raider, but you want to see
it means nothing for us guys.
Role-play experiences like on Balamung with your main, you're ready to be horny on main without downloading Twitter. Well, the system can make that happen. At no extra cost, you can jump around and find new people or those you already know to play and hang out with. And so it's going to, I think,
you guys reckon they'll bring the region travel though?
A lot of
Real
things
question.
In a bigger way than a lot of people currently realize. It's going to massively expand the pool of players that you can interact with and organize content with. And for basically, it's going to have some far-reaching impacts on the game that I personally think will all be positive. And I mean, think about how at the end of Stormblood, we got the World Visit system, and that broke down the barriers that servers once represented, and now it's less important what server or world you pick within a data center because World Visit exists, and now the data center barriers are slowly but surely going away too. So that's awesome.
Well, that's what I say to so many people. Like, it doesn't really matter what server you pick. Like, so many people get really caught up on what server, but all in all, unless there's like a free company or like a bunch of friends that are like always on that server, like, it doesn't really matter because you can still queue up with your friends and like do party finder, duty finder with other people. It's like, it doesn't really matter.
But with that said, do keep in mind that we're going to be seeing some of the same sort of restrictions on data center travel that we currently experience with world visit system. It's nothing too major, but probably, you know, worth noting. Oh, and there will be region locks on data center travel temporarily. So NA won't be able to visit EU, for example, not at first. EU won't be able to visit JP in the beginning. So I really hope they remove that restriction as soon as possible, because it looks like I am going to have to move to NA. And I really want my EU friends to come and visit me so that they can come and post the fight macro in the party chat.
Aww.
So I don't have to just stand around a marker or whatever the hell they're doing in NA. The next major element of future-proofing that we have seen for Final Fantasy XIV is the implementation of duty support, aka the trust system, into older content and making FFXIV more solo-friendly. I made a video about this recently. I talk about this all the time. I think it's fantastic for the game. Though I cannot emphasize enough, this is not for all content. It is only for main story quest content, because every time I bring this up, there's somebody that's like, oh, they're making the whole MMO for solo player. No, they're not.
I wouldn't do that.
They're not going to make everything solo. And rest assured,
can you imagine?
ERP will remain.
Can you imagine doing, like people as duty? Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking, Zeri. Like, it literally savage content with, like, NPCs. Dude, that would just ruin the whole experience, honestly. It would truly... You wouldn't get that thrill out of, like, completing it, you know? Because you just feel like you get carried by NPCs. Like, what's the point? What's the point? It'd be pretty funny. All the NPCs will just suck, yeah. Get hit by mechanics.
Solo. All main story quests, dungeons, and trials will be made compatible with these systems that let you enter a story dungeon or trial with NPC AI bots who fight alongside you. Now, I have been leveling in alt and doing this, and it works great. Like, you don't have to wait for a dungeon queue.
Yeah.
It's an instant pop, obviously. You just go in there anytime, and no matter how toxic I am
I think it's a really good feature.
To them, I never get reported. But then again, I don't think they ever gave me a commendation, so... At the release of patch 6.1, all of the base Realm Reborn, that's patch 2.0, main story quest content was made compatible with the system. And with every upcoming major patch, they'll be adding more compatibility to the system. So patch 6.2 is going to make all the 2.x Realm Reborn main story quest dungeons compatible, as well as 2 or 3 Heaven's Ward main story quest dungeons compatible. And more are going to be added over time, so that by the time we reach patch 6.5, all the main story quest dungeons should be compatible with either the next expansion or its patches. Then they should add this system to all of the 8-player trials. So eventually, all the main story will be able to be completed entirely solo. And finally,
again, I just want to add to that, like, for people like my dad, right? My dad legit was interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV, but the thought of him having to play with other players online freaked him out. That actually was like a turn off for him. Like, he would much rather be able to do this content with a bunch of NPCs and not have to worry about letting other people down or like not knowing what he's doing and stuff like that. So like, I think it's really good for like other people that aren't really confident in like their own skills in gaming and stuff like that as well. I think it's really cool. Legit. Because now I can tell my dad and be like, hey, you don't have to play with other people to do the main scenario, you know? And he'd be like, oh yeah, that's pretty good then.
Major point of future-proofing Final Fantasy XIV that we know about. Now, this one is going to be quite a bit later, but it's still important to show. I feel, again, Final Fantasy XIV is a game that's pretty old, and as such, the visuals have aged like milk. Honestly, though, even at the time of launching, it had some issues. Like, you can look at the graphs, you can look at some of the low resolution ground. Like, trust me, I know. I've spent a lot of time on the ground.
Is that a rock?
But of course, there's also Pixel Exarch, though sometimes, honestly, with how weird the player base is, I feel like sometimes they like it. They like it like that. Nevertheless, I'm very happy to see that Final Fantasy XIV is getting a complete graphical overhaul. We were already given a few samples of how things could look, and I'll put some of those on the screen so you can see what I mean.
It's so exciting!
That these are not final. They were just samples after 1 month of testing, and the final results will look a lot better than even what I'm showing here. The first major update is happening with the release
cool.
of the next expansion, with further updates to the graphics coming even past that, as they're doing all this in phases due to the sheer amount of things that they need to update. And I do think that it bears mentioning that the PlayStation 4 version of Final Fantasy 14 will still be supported with the next expansion, but the one after that, that is 8.0, could be a different story.
8.0? Bruh. 8.0. That is the future. That is the future, legit. So far away. That would be like 8 years or something. No, I don't know. It'll be like, what, 6 years? Because what, 7.0 is not going to be for like another 2 years probably, or 3 years, right? It's weird. I feel bad for people like your dad because I'd love to help them and guide them in the beginning of the game. Playing with NPCs doesn't really do that. I see both ways. Yeah, no, that's 100%. I think it's just his own confidence, if that makes sense. Like, my dad doesn't really have a lot of confidence. So he would just be worried. But yeah, no, that's the beautiful thing about Final Fantasy, though, that the player base, we're here like to help people. Like, that is part of our purpose, I guess. Like, playing this game, it feels so rewarding to like meet a Sprout and like help him out, and it just feels so nice, you know. It's such a lovely feeling.
And I know minimum PC specs will also be increasing with 7.0 and beyond. So future proofing is all well and good, but what about the immediate future? What is there to get excited for soon, TM? Well,
Soon,
let's
TM.
look at something that patch 6.1 has set the stage for, or rather the arena for. Of course, I'm talking about PvP. And when I say that, there are still some people who hear that and think, oh, PvP. I heard PvP sucks in Final Fantasy 14. And I mean,
I kind of missed it. I haven't played it in a while.
There's a reason that people say that. It's because for a
Hey,
long time before patch 6.1, it was not in a good state. But rest assured that PvP in this game has had quite a glow up since that patch. This patch completely reworked the PvP system in Final Fantasy 14, completely reworked the reward structure, and it's actually active now. People do it. It's fun. I've done quite a lot of it myself, so it seems like they finally got it right, and it's at least now on the right track. It's not perfect. There's still stuff that needs to be done, but it's way, way, way better. Crystalline Conflict has been extremely well received by the player base.
I think so.
But like I said, there's still work that has to happen to make it feel like a complete experience that people want to keep playing and come back and keep doing it in between patches.
That's so hard, though.
I know that the Frontlines mode is in a little bit of a bad spot. It's really in a bad spot. There's so many summoners in Frontlines right now. The devs did say that patch 6.2 will be addressing some of those existing concerns, and Rival Wings mode will be returning in patch 6.2 with changes to it having already been made. So we don't know all the details on that. We will be finding out about that more in the upcoming live letters. I know the next live letter has been announced for July 1st. Another exciting thing on the near future roadmap for Endwalker is Island Sanctuary. And it is so like the Warrior of Light to strand themselves on a desert island for fun. Just because they felt like it. You know,
I just want to decorate things.
I'm kidding, because how deserted will this island be? How stranded will you be? There's not a whole lot we know about this feature yet, but I'm still really excited about the little bit of information that we do have. We know that it's coming in patch 6.2. We know it's completely new to Final Fantasy 14, something never before seen, and we know it's been in development for a long time. It's we also know that it's an island, and that it's a sanctuary.
Island sanctuary.
You're welcome.
Got it.
Sort that out for you. We do know. Actually, I think it had been confirmed that people can visit your island. Friends can visit. You can hang out by yourself and do your ERP or whatever you do. And you can have your minions running around, as we can see from the artwork. The artwork is probably the biggest clue that we've gotten about Island Sanctuary, because it's the only piece of artwork
the minions and Chocobo and the mouse.
It is not something that's exclusively for crafters or gatherers or anything like that. And you are going to be able to customize the island in various ways. It is said to be inspired by Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley. That's the word on the street. That's what players keep repeating. And
it looks very farmy, like all the vegetables and like all the whatchamacallit, the farm, the mill, you know, and all the minions. It's cute. Yeah, crops. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Crops. I've been waiting for this for years. I have high hopes, dude. Should be good. I didn't realize that this was something that they've been developing for a long time. I thought it was something quite new that they've kind of announced.
I know that at the Endwalker Media Tour, Yoshi had said in an interview that you would be able to place buildings, that there would be a focus on, quote, the house, the garden, and the furniture, end quote. So hearing that, players are hoping for something akin to instance housing, though will it truly be that? Do we dare hope that
Yoshi doesn't lie?
The holy grail
right?
of instance housing that could
Yoshi
save
wouldn't lie to us.
I do not know. The fact is that, yeah, Final Fantasy XIV's housing system has been improved by the lottery system that they added to it.
Did you guys see? Did you guys see about the plots? They're changing the number of free company plots and the number of the residential ones, like the single player ones. Finally, there's going to be less free company ones and more just like player ones, which is going to be so much better. There was way too many plots for free companies. That was actually insane. Too late on NA. Really? Shit. Oh. I'm sorry, Zepla. I'm sorry.
That a lottery made it more fair. That's how bad 14's housing system is. But there is still way more demand than supply. And there are many plots that are locked to FC only, which leaves out plenty of people who want a home just for themselves.
They've only just announced that.
Basically, the housing system in this game has been an endless source of rage and frustration for the players. So hearing stuff like buildings or furniture being connected to Island Sanctuary obviously has us all sucking up hopium. Like, praying, could this be the thing that's our salvation from the horrible current housing system?
Yeah, Necro, that was way too many.
It's not hard to see how so many other games do player housing so much better. Like, I know Elder Scrolls Online, I talk about it from time to time. It does let you collect every single house in the game, though they will charge you out the ass for doing it. Like, if you do want to collect every single, some of those houses are pretty expensive. Maybe you can grind it out. I'm not sure. I'm sure people will let me know in the comments how many weeks, months, or years of grinding it would take.
Why would you want more than one house?
Every house in the game. The point is that you can have multiple houses, and I do know that some of the houses you get from that game are free, to be fair, and placement of furniture is really easy. You don't need to download a prohibited add-on and jeopardize your account to just put things wherever. That looks
wacky to me.
In the air or wherever you want them to go.
Looks like a pimp. Got it.
I ask, if it will involve placing furniture, will Island Sanctuary use that same old system for placing furniture? Probably. I hope not, but probably. I don't think that we should make it like Sims. Anything near the system that Elder Scrolls Online has, even if it is.
Sims would be. Can you imagine like a Sims like UI with all the stuff that you have, and then you can just like drag and drop it, just like in Sims? That would be the easiest. That would be just amazing. Yeah, no, like placing in Sims is like so straightforward because you have like a bunch of keyboard shortcuts that you can use as well. Like that would be sick.
But I do also remember that they had announced an additional area for Island Sanctuary. Long ago, they said that there would be an additional area for Island Sanctuary, something that maybe could come in 6.4 or 6.5, which got me thinking that maybe this could be like Genshin Impact's housing system. So in Genshin Impact's player housing, you have a Serenity plot, is what it's called, and you first need to select your starter area to build your plot, your teapot, whatever that's called, like your player housing area. With being able to choose between floating islands, mountains, or an actual island. And with more and more things being added over time with Genshin that you can pick between. So each area has different layouts and also serves as a separate save. So I thought maybe the additional area for Island Sanctuary that's going to be added later might be that you could choose a whole new place to customize or just have more space in your main area. Also in Genshin, objects can be placed and rotated to your liking, very similar to There's a main building that you can go inside of. And
you can literally like customize the environment. What? That is so cool. That is really cool. I want to do that in Final Fantasy. Imagine like messing around with like trees and rocks and mountains and shit. That'd be nuts.
Which is pretty similar to the indoor housing in Final Fantasy 14. And you can place minions and have them walk around, which seems very similar to what the devs said that
Puppies! Look at them!
they want you to be able to do in Island Sanctuary, which is another reason why the Genshin system came to mind as something to potentially compare it to. And in your sanctuary, we do know also that you can do gardening, like in Genshin, though, of course, the gardening system in Final Fantasy 14 is way more complex than the one in Genshin.
Yeah.
And in Genshin, you can visit other people's Serenity pots. And we know, yeah, you can visit other island sanctuaries, or you should be able to, though, of course, you need friends that will come and, like,
You
want
need
to come
friends.
and visit.
You need to have friends so that you can actually visit them.
Your island sanctuary. Look, I'm a little bit worried that it might end up being like another Warlords of Draenor garrison type situation for myself, where like I made this beautiful garrison and I'm just like sitting there, and yeah, people maybe could come visit, but nobody ever visited.
Yes, you do,
visit me. At least I'll have my minions. I definitely think that a player housing system as robust as what we see in Genshin may be way too much to hope for here, but even if we have something,
if they make it like Genshin, that'd be sick.
That, I think it'll be really fun and good. Imagine just having 5 Mama Shibas minions running towards you whenever you open the main building, and you're that'd be so nice. Now, the next thing on the roadmap for Endwalker is the thing that I'm most excited for. It's the one that I am most desperate for information about. This is Criterion Dungeons. This is something totally new to Final Fantasy 14.
Criterion.
I do think it represents some of that out-of-the-box risk-taking
variable
that I
difficulty.
Before. That's something that the game sorely needs.
Would it be like Mythic Plus?
And we know that the Criterion Dungeons will have a variable difficulty depending on how many people are there challenging it. So it can be just one person or up to 4 people. And we have very, very little information about this. So I don't know, like, does 4 people mean it'll be the hardest, or does 1 person mean it'll be the hardest, right?
Wow.
Probably 1 person soloing it means it's going to be the hardest.
Yeah,
all we really have to go on is Yoshi P teasing about something small scale related when he was interviewed during the Endwalker Media Tour by Asmongold and Rich Campbell, as they were really curious if more difficult content would be coming for small scale groups, and this does seem to be that. We are going to be getting one for patch 6.2, and a second and a third one will be added in patch 6.4 and 6.5.
Wait, 6.2? We're going to get one in 6.2. Is that what she just said? Yeah, Sora. I'm like, wait, what?
When he was interviewed during the Endwalker Media Tour by Asmongold and Rich Campbell, as they were really curious if more difficult content would be coming for small scale groups, and this does seem to be that. We are going to be getting one for patch 6.2, and a second and a third one will be added in patch 6.4 and 6.5 respectively. So this looks like it is something that not only Endwalker will get, but it will be something that will be expanded upon further beyond Endwalker, at least, I hope.
Wow.
So to wrap things up here, I wanted to mention some small things that people are really looking forward to in the patches for Endwalker, which is both a new Ultimate Raid in patch 6.3 and a new Deep Dungeon in patch 6.3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the first Endwalker Ultimate Raid was a huge success. That was Dragon Song's Reprise. It was the hardest Ultimate that has ever been released.
They did really well on this.
And incredibly fun to watch the people prog through that. And it has also been a few years since the last time that we got a Deep Dungeon. Deep Dungeon is very popular content. It's something that it's a really great way to level, and it's something that I'm currently obsessed with. That is what I'm spending a ton of my time doing right now, is going for the solo.
She's been loving it.
Palace of the
so
Dead,
good to watch,
the original Deep Dungeon. I've been having a great time doing that, and so I love Deep Dungeon, and I'm super excited to see what the new Deep Dungeon will be like. Will be more like Heaven on High, which has 100 floors and is generally considered to be a bit easier to solo than Palace of the Dead, which has 200 floors and is brutal. It's just it's like it's very punishing. I think I might prefer. I like 200 floors because I like to have that level of feeling like the stakes are very high. Like you got so far and you're going to lose everything. Basically, if you die, you have to start back from the beginning.
Brutal.
So it's very exhilarating to solo for that reason. And maybe something like in Hades, where each set of floors you could pick up a boon from an NPC who like blesses you in some way. Or maybe that sounds too much like Torghast. I don't know. I'm sure people will have plenty of ideas for how Deep Dungeon could be in the comments. We'll probably talk about that more in depth when the time comes.
Oh yeah.
And importantly, several quality of life updates that we don't know about yet that will come with each patch. There's a lot of eyes on QOL updates for this game after the whole third-party add-ons debacle that we've had, in which they started to crack down on streamers using third-party add-ons, and then Yoshi P released a statement saying, oh, but we're going to look at what those add-ons provide in functionality, and then we're going to try to improve our game so that the game will give the QOL that you're turning to add-ons for.
Yeah,
so
I think
in like in the future, we are going to be looking at these patches and saying, oh, well, here's that feature that came from that add-on that people don't have to use anymore, right? And
isn't that the smart thing to
I
do, though?
think, by the way, that is what a lot of these add-on developers want. Like they create these add-ons to be solutions to problems. So in this roadmap for Endwalker and beyond, I would like to see a lot of these problems solved, so people don't always have to turn to third-party tools. And finally, hopefully some more news on the confirmed Xbox version of Final Fantasy XIV. I mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating that the next live letter will be on July 1st, and that is when we are going to get a lot more concrete information on what they have planned for the future of Endwalker, and we'll learn more about a lot of the things that are currently still quite mysterious to us, like Island Sanctuary, like future PvP updates, like Criterion Dungeons, and more. So make sure that you don't miss that live letter, and if you do, of course, I will be posting here a recap of it, so that at least you'll get all the information if you're not able to watch the whole live letter. So thank you for watching. Obviously, things have been incredibly hectic for me with everything going on right now. I am doing my best to keep making videos during this the most difficult time of my life, so I cannot thank you enough. Those of you who are continuing to support me through Patreon or through Twitch, I am relying on that so much right now because it's just everything is chaos. Everything is chaos right now, but I am going to do my absolute best to continue delivering content as consistently as possible here on YouTube and of course on Twitch as well.
Love you,
so
Zepla.
do give it a like, subscribe, and you can also follow me on Twitch where I'm streaming several times a week. I'm there all the time, so we'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching,
That's her soul.
and I'll see you next time. Bye.
She's such a kind soul. Such a kind soul. Everyone, please go give the video some support if you haven't already. She really is, yeah. You can just see, like, she's such a genuine, wholesome, loving human. She really, truly is.